little small points, but important ones. So, for those who would say this story of Genesis has nothing to do with my life, I would say this central takeaway of the first creation story, because we're created for covenant, that God wants us to respond to His invitation. You will be my people, and I will be your God. If you made it through life as an atheist and you never come to know God, you have failed in the mission of creation story number one. It's a call to know Him well, to love Him, to enter into a relationship with Him. He wants to share Himself with us. And I think the number one takeaway of story number two is we were created to love. If I go through my entire life living selfishly, the entirety of my life, and I never learned the lesson of sacrificial love, putting my neighbor ahead of me, putting God ahead of me, being of service to others, or as Jesus said a month ago on Sunday Mass, seeking to be last rather than first. If I never discover that, I failed in mission number two. That taken together, that you want a pathway to happiness, to fulfillment, it's to know God well, to love Him, and to learn to love others. It's the mission from the beginning. For those who think the Old Testament God is just a grumpy, mean God, does that sound mean or grumpy to you? That, to me, sounds like one who wants to share their love with us. And the last thing I'll say is just about Satan. St. Thomas Aquinas, he gave a description about image and likeness that has helped me just keep the two words kind of clear in my head. He says that we're called to live in God's image and likeness. The image being that we have an intellect, some kind of functioning intellect. We have free will, and we're called to love. We all have that, and we do not lose that in the fall. You may learn bad habits of being more selfish, but those are part of our human nature. We call them the powers of the soul. But he said your likeness to God is how much holiness you achieve, sharing in the divine life. So he said, as an example, Satan has the image of God, but not the likeness. Satan still has free will and intellect, but he has entirely rejected God's plan. He has entirely rejected God's invitation to a relationship with Him. So he has the image only and not the likeness. We're called, while in this life, to be in the image and likeness of God. It takes a little cooperation on our part, though, to achieve the likeness. We have to cooperate with God's grace. Okay. With that, he's going to say a word on the fall.